The dishwasher. We're recording. What's up, everybody? All right, we're gonna do our second little cooking class of the Clovis Custom Metabolism Reset. This new camera is trying to really focus on me and not on Miss Megan. It should be more focused on Megan. We'll fix that. But anyway, we know it's the day before Thanksgiving. At least sorry that we had to reschedule from Mondays, but here's Megan, feeling better. Are you feeling better? Yeah, much better than Monday. So we're just gonna dig in. We know that you guys are really busy. Some of you are probably traveling for the holidays and have a big day tomorrow. If you're like us, if you look around this kitchen right now, it is madness because Megan has been preparing all sorts of things all day long. We have baked goods, we have apple crisp, we have carrots, we have all sorts of stuff. So she's been cooking all day. So you get to see us in our fancy kitchen mode when things are quite busy. We have a big Thanksgiving party that we're going to tomorrow, and she's bringing a lot of dishes. Still coughing, baby. She'll get over it. All right, so what we're gonna do is, this one's probably gonna be a lot shorter than the first one. It's a less complicated recipe. What are you making again?
I'm making barbecue meatballs and ginger garlic mushrooms. And one of the reasons that I think this actually ends up being perfect, because I wanted to give you guys something that's really short and easy, especially around the holidays, especially if you're cooking a lot or traveling or doing whatever. This is nice for any time when you want something simple, but particularly right now, it's nice for me to have something that's really, really quick. This takes really just 2 pans. I'm gonna do it in 3 because I'm making enough for us to eat with some friends tonight. So I'm going to be making extra meatballs, but normally you could do this in 2 pans. It's really easy. It's on the stovetop, and you're going to watch me do it live. It's going to take me maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, awesome. And we were talking about this today. She was talking about like looking at the recipe, how she wanted to do it. And we actually decided it would be more beneficial for you guys to see Megan kind of wing a lot of it, right? You said you're going to wing it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I always wing stuff like this.
Yeah, she's basically always winging it when she makes stuff for us at home. So this really is like, in terms of the Clovis Custom Metabolism Reset that you guys are doing, what we really want to help you do is find approved foods and kind of make it second nature to work with those approved foods. Meaning anytime Megan, starts putting things together for a meal, she knows what she's working with, what food she wants to use, what food she doesn't. I don't say can and can't use. It's not a matter of can't, you're just choosing to eat nutrient-dense whole foods through Clovis, right? So most of the time she's just winging it, and it's always delicious. It's amazing. She's a much better cook than I am. I cooked today, it didn't go that well for me. She was busy baking, and then I burned some stuff. But it's cool.
I just don't know how to not use high on the stove.
I turn the stove to high every time because I don't like the fact that cooking takes more than 5 minutes of my life. So I just make it as hot as possible every time.
It takes more than that of your time when you cook that high, because you have to clean all the burnt stuff. Okay, so let's give you guys an idea of what we're getting started with here. My store actually did not have full-size portobello mushrooms, which is what I told you guys to get. So I have a bunch of baby bellas. That's for my pumpkin pies. I'm gonna check on that in a second. I got a bunch of baby bellas. I chopped them up, took the stems off, rinsed them, and then chopped them into pieces that are about this size. You can also do lengthwise a similar kind of width for full-size portobello mushrooms. Either way will do really well. I just put those in a pan. They're gonna hang out for a second. I'm gonna check on my pumpkin pies, and then I'm gonna dice this onion. Over here in this bowl, can you point them to the bowl? With the ground beef in it.
There we go.
Okay, so over there we have some farm ground beef, and we have some organic ground chicken. I'm going to mix those together, and then I'm going to put some spices and some onion in there, and then we're going to cook the meatballs up.
Cool. Here's the we'll pull this organic ground chicken out here in a minute, so you'll see that, and we'll do some meatballs.
Let's see if you want to sneak peek of these pumpkin pies.
Yeah.
Let's see if might be. We'll give them another 2 or 3 minutes. Okay.
They look pretty good.
So
I'm trying to really work on my camera work here. Make sure you guys don't get sick while we move around. I'll try to keep it nice and smooth for you.
So first thing I'm going to do is dice up this onion. If you like your onion to be really well cooked, you can put this onion and saute it on just a little bit of water and oil in a pan before you put it in with your ground beef. But I like my onion to be kind of sharper and spicier, so I like to leave it raw. It's still going to get cooked while I'm cooking the meatballs, but I like mine to be a little more al dente when the meatballs are cooked. So totally up to you. For our purposes here, I'm just going to dice this up and put it straight into the ground beef. Any of you who have classical knife training will notice that I do not. So I am lucky that I'm not bloody today. Cutting things. So far, I've lived my life pretty well with that. Okay, so I'm gonna take, this is like 2 slices of a pretty large onion. And I'm not even gonna use the entire thing. I would say put somewhere like a 1/4 cup of finely diced onion there, give or take, depending on how much you like, in your ground beef. And again, this is 1 pound of some of our ground beef from the farm. I would recommend, depending on what your fat macros are and what you're trying to hit, do either 85-15 or 90-10 ground beef. These are going to be kind of lean anyway because of the chicken, and they're doused in barbecue sauce. So they're going to taste great regardless. You don't need like an ultra fatty ground beef composite kind of thing going on to make them taste good. So I would stick with that. What we have, I think, is 85-15-ish, although because it's from the farm, it's hard to say, but it's pasture raised ground beef, so it's kind of lean. I told you guys to get some parsley. I also have some marjoram here, which is definitely has seen better days. But this guy needs to get used up, and he's got a really nice like spice component for what we're doing here. This is kind of like a just like a little bit of a peppery herbal kick. I didn't call for this for you guys, but if you have any fresh herbs sitting around that you want to add into this that you think tastes good with barbecue sauce, you are welcome to chop that up and put it in your meatballs. Sometimes what I use in terms of like fresh herbs is just whatever we have around. And the thing about fresh green herbs is they kind of just, I mean, unless you're using something with a really specific flavor profile like dill or something, a lot of them really just go well with most things. So we're going to take that, chop that up, and I'm going to pull open this flat leaf parsley that I have and take a good handful chunk of that and chop in one direction here, and then another. That first one, I'm going to take this parsley and throw it in the ground beef. Now you guys will notice, as Justin said, as I'm going through this, I really am winging it. There's no right or wrong way to do any of this. If you want more or less in what you're cooking, what you're preparing, depending on how you like it to taste, there's really no wrong way to do this. As long as you have a larger proportion of ground meat to everything else, your meatballs will more or less stick together. And even if they don't, if they fall apart in the pan, you just have like herby ground beef, which is great.
Exactly. So
there's
really no
way to mess with it.
There's no risk to messing up this recipe, really.
For sure. Another thing, speaking of ways that you can't mess up something like this, we don't have any more eggs today because I used them all baking. So this recipe calls for 1 egg. If you are at home and you are following along this, I recommend that you take 1 egg, put it in a small bowl or a mug, whisk it up until it is pretty much homogeneous, and then pour it in this mixture. I don't have that, so we're not going to do that in mine today. But if I had one, I would do that, and it's not going to make or break the process of making this, but your meatballs will stick together slightly better if you have an egg in there. All right, we're going to add the ground chicken at this point. You can also use ground turkey, whatever kind of like ground bird, I suppose, is available to you or that you prefer is totally fine here. All right, and because I have burned my hands many times today, both chemically and from temperature. I burned them on the dishwasher, and I also burned them with chemical defenses of a jalapeno pepper. Justin is going to actually take to the meatballs and mash them together with his hands. But first, I'm going to grab some garlic, and I'm going to take I'm going to say 6 cloves of garlic total. I'm pretty heavy personally on the garlic, so I'm going to do 3 cloves in the meatballs and 3 cloves in the mushrooms. So up to you how much you want to use. 6, I would say, for most people is going to be on the high side. I'm not Italian. If you are, you might be 8. I don't know. Let's see. We have some more here. But I think probably an average recipe in this situation would call for like 1 clove in the meatballs, maybe 2, and 1 in the mushrooms. So it's your call, but I'm going to do 3 and 3. I think. So while I'm doing this, can you start smashing that up, please?
Yes.
these out of their shell in the most Ralph style way possible.
Never had my cooking show. Very cool.
How's it feel in your hands? That stuff grosses me out. I like it when you do it anyway, honestly, because the feeling of ground meat really sticks me out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind it. It's not my favorite thing.
Pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pies. Check them out.
Just in a couple minutes. Okay. Just gonna be intermittently on pumpkin pie alert. Make sure those are okay. I made these little mini pumpkin pies today. Fair warning for you guys. I made a pie crust thinking I was gonna make 2 pumpkin pies for our friends. And for the first time ever in my life, I used my grandma's recipe to try to make a pie-free version of pumpkin pie crust, or pie crust of any kind, I guess. And fun fact, cassava flour, not a winner. Not a winner for making pie crust. I did like 2 parts cassava flour to 1 part white rice flour, and it was not the best. I'm gonna try a different combination at some point, but cassava flour really just does not hold up. So you guys are aware in case you're baking for the holidays, like I would not. I'd probably go with rice flour if I were gonna do it.
Yeah, rice flour seems to work pretty well for holding stuff. Do you want me to form these into patties?
No.
Okay.
You are not even done mixing them.
Oh, so you got more stuff. More stuff.
I'm just pressing 3 of these garlic cloves directly into the meatball mixture. And then we're gonna do a little salt, a little pepper in there, and then this guy is gonna be good to go. So reminder, in here we have 1 pound of ground beef, 1 pound of ground chicken. We have some diced herbs. We have some diced onion. We have some 3 cloves of garlic, and we're gonna put some salt and pepper in there. Did I miss anything? No, we would have an egg if we had one, but we don't. You probably do. Okay.
You probably do.
Great.
Salt.
And salt this pretty heavily.
We do a lot of salt in all recipes.
And we got some pepper, but you can start to mix that up. Use the white pepper again because I did on our last one, and
Fancy.
it's like we're here, so
Susanna let us know what was up. It's exactly the same.
try.
It looks different. Fancy.
Okay, all right, so that's about right. Okay, so for the mushrooms, I'm gonna take 3 more cloves of garlic and I'm gonna press them directly into this skillet where I have the mushrooms hanging out here. There we go. And then we're gonna put some ginger in here as well. We're gonna mix up. I have been on such a ginger and garlic kick since I got this cold, and it has been amazing. I've been grating fresh ginger into my tea every single day. I've been having like 3 or 4 cups of tea, it's just like basically honey and ginger with lemon juice in it, which I'm making.
Sounds like you're loud enough.
All right.
Getting the raw meat off my hands. All right.
Okay. So from here, I'm going to take this piece of fresh ginger. I'm going to bring it to the camera so you can kind of see about how much I'm using. All right. So this is, relative to my hand. I have a pretty small hand. I'm going to use, I don't know what this is, like an inch-ish of ginger, and I'm just going to grate this directly into the mushrooms. And I'm going to kind of try to spread it around. I have one of these little like grater tools. I don't know if you guys have one of these. This is really useful. If you don't have one of these, you can also just dice it up really finely, or use, in theory, I think you could probably use a food processor depending on how small your food processor gets. Close. I love the spiciness of ginger. It's so good.
Yeah, big fan of ginger.
I put some garlic in my tea a couple days ago because I was like, oh, garlic's probably really good for me right now too. I put garlic in this tea, thinking like, oh, garlic tastes so good. It was like pretty good tea, but it was a weird experience. Like, half tea, half broth vibes.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't super recommend it. It was like an interesting experience. Okay, we got enough ginger. We got enough garlic. We're going to add a little bit of grass-fed butter into this pan. The funny thing about mushrooms is they feel always to me like they need a lot of oil when you very first start. So I like to add a little bit of distilled water in with the butter when I start to cook them, because they feel like they just don't get coated very well unless there's a lot of liquid in there. But then I find if I put all butter and not any water up front, they end up feeling like really, really coated in too much butter sometimes. So in order to get them kind of like coated in the amount of liquid that I think they need, I do a little combo of butter and water. So I'm gonna do, what is this? Less than a tablespoon.
Yeah, that's
Of butter, a little bit more on this other side. I'd say that's like, I don't know, 2/3 of a tablespoon maybe. This is for 4 people. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this water and just gonna put what I would call like 3 tablespoons, 8 if you were to measure it. It's a very, very just like light coating at the bottom of the pan if you're like me and you just want everything. I'm gonna take the pan over here, and I also want to add a little bit of lemon, and that lemon has already been squeezed into my tea. Take this lemon, and I'm just gonna do the juice of like half a lemon into this same pan with the mushrooms. I think the lemon really gives it a nice kick. Okay. At some point, we're also gonna put some coconut aminos into this pan because it's gonna light on. Yeah. Because I think that sweetness really like helps kind of balance the lemon there, but okay. Now we're going to put a little bit of fat into the pans. If I were doing only beef meatballs, I would not do this, but because there's chicken in these meatballs and they are also lean ground beef, I'm going to put a little bit of butter and just coat the bottom of the pan. All right, now, do you want to set this guy up and then help me do the actual meatball?
You got it. Bear with me for a second, guys, while I get you a good view of this. I'm gonna angle this down. There we go.
Here's the thing that we're going to learn right now. This is
What? That's
have
starting
you
meat.
ever seen that before?
I do it like this though.
No, that's wrong. All right, so we're going to turn like just a pretty even medium heat. The mushrooms aren't overheated yet. I'm just going to heat up this butter in these 2 pans. And again, I said at the beginning, if you are doing 2 pounds of meat like we are here, you're going to want 2 pans. If you're only doing 1 pound of meat, you know, half a pound, you can just do it and you won't need to. We're cooking for 4 adults, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this much. Okay, I'm going to check on the pies really quick. From you, can you take this and start shaping it into balls that are about this size?
Okay.
I'm going to show you guys. This is
Should I put them on a
about the
plate?
size we want. No, just wait until this is, okay, you can put them on a plate for now. And I'll start moving them. We're going to start moving this butter around. Hopefully these pumpkin pies are ready. Man, these like medium-sized ones are weird. Yes. Okay, they look, I think they look good. I think they look ready. Man, I've had a fiasco with the pumpkin pies today, guys. It's been one. I think that looks like it's a thing. We have undercooked pumpkin pies, you know, we have undercooked pumpkin pies.
I'll eat it for sure.
Heard it here first, he'll eat it for sure.
Mhm.
All right, apple crisp is gonna go in. Set this. Bingo. Okay, excellent. So the trick to keeping these meatballs really juicy and nice is to cook them halfway while they are just on oil, and then cook them the other half of the way, cook them the rest of the way in sauce. So you guys know I called for in this to use this Primal Kitchen classic barbecue sauce. This sauce by itself works really well. If you want to add anything to this, you could customize it by adding a little like Dijon mustard, tastes super good. You could add some maple syrup, which is what I'm going to do today because Justin hasn't eaten enough carbs today as usual. You could add, if you want some zero carb sweetness to add to this, you could add some liquid stevia, some pure liquid stevia, which is great. If you want some spiciness, sometimes I throw a little like cayenne in there, or you could do some sriracha maybe. And okay, actually, I'm not sure if sriracha is kosher on their plan.
I have to
No
look
pun
at the
intended.
ingredients actually. I don't remember what's in sriracha.
Okay, all right. It's got peppers in it, so I think it might be a no-no. I didn't do that when I was doing my elimination diet. So anyway, cayenne as a substitute works super well. So I'm going to take this out myself, and I'm going to mix this like a 4-to-1, I would say, ratio of sauce to maple syrup, and that's going to be the sauce that we are going to use. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of water into the pan when we get there, because I think that the sauce does simmer down and reduce while it's in the pan. And so I want to add just a little bit of water, but we'll do that when we get there. Okay, those are looking great.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I'm going to turn this down just a hair.
Decent size, I think. These are pretty good.
Yes, so we're going to cook these 3 minutes on each side, and we're going to call it like 3 sides, basically, is how many sides these meatballs kind of have when you end up cooking them. So we're going to start them on one side, give them 3 minutes, flip them to another side at a different angle, give them another 3 minutes, and then finally turn them to kind of a third side and put the sauce in the pan and cover the pan so that we get a really nice, like, moisture infused meatball that doesn't dry out as you're cooking it. That's kind of the problem with some chicken meatballs when you do them, they get a little dry. Okay, let's start these because they look like these pans need to go. So just start putting them on here, and I will start the timer. There you go. Yeah, it's such a hard time when I need you for one thing and then I need you for another thing because your hands are so much better than somebody. Okay, all right, I'm opening this bottle of coconut aminos. I'm also gonna add a little coconut aminos into our barbecue sauce because I love the way they taste, and this is basically the only condiment Justin would ever eat if he was given the opportunity.
All right,
Another
some of
thing-
these are going to be a little bit behind the timer.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say that. As you're thinking about it, you wanna make sure you remember roughly the order that you put the meatballs down. And when you go to flip them, you're gonna flip them in roughly the same order, and that'll keep them cooking in the right direction.
Basically, this whole pan is essentially the same. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was amazing. Thank you.
you got it.
You're incredible. So we're 2 minutes into these. I'm going to start to heat on these mushrooms. I'm going to put these over kind of low, medium heat, and I'm going to let them just start to heat up kind of slowly, let that butter start to get going. The mushrooms are going to be finished last. If you want everything to be finished at the same time, I would suggest starting the mushrooms first and letting them simmer really low the entire time. The way that we tend to cook and the way we tend to eat actually is to kind of eat our meat first, and I'll leave the mushrooms in this situation to kind of simmer a little bit longer and keep cooking, but we'll toss them around for now. Okay, I got the sauce ready. I got some tongs here. Ooh, okay, thanks for sticking with my chaos so far, you guys, today. Between this tail end of this cold and all of the holiday cooking, it has been one. Okay, this looks fantastic. That butter's starting to melt. And I want to get some salt on these mushrooms. So, the salt. These are going to be super good. Also, since these are heating up now, I'm going to throw a little bit of coconut aminos in here. Oh, is that right? That was probably a tablespoon or two. Bad to say. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start moving these, and I'm not going to flip them completely over to the opposite side. I just want to get them on another angle. So I'm going to just kind of like turn them over, and then wherever they settle, that's fine. If you don't already, I would highly recommend that you get yourself a really good meat thermometer, because when you're cooking meats, really the only way you can know when they're done is by using a meat thermometer. It's incredibly helpful. Justin can recommend one to you guys, but especially if you're going through the process of going from not eating a lot of meat at home to cooking really meat-heavy dishes, which is an evolution that I went through a few years ago. It really helps to have a good meat thermometer, big time. Okay, now that I clicked everything, I'm going to click restart and do another 3-minute round of the meatballs. Okay, those are looking like they're coming along nicely, and we're still on like medium, maybe just slightly on the low side of medium heat here, guys. Move these. Wow, these mushrooms smell so good. Wow, the garlic and ginger is already just like kicking up the best way. And my poor hands that are all burnt from today are like feeling the steam from the heat, and they're like, stop burning it. Those are looking good. I've now got the mushrooms on like the high side of medium in terms of heat. And okay, we're good. 30 seconds in. I'm gonna bring the sauce over and show you guys what I did there. So this is the barbecue sauce that we're gonna split evenly amongst these 2 pans when the time comes. I haven't tasted it yet, I should. Oh my God, wow, amazing. Okay, so the primal kitchen barbecue sauce is already great. I might put a little bit of spice in this if it were just me, but Justin likes his barbecue sauce definitely sweeter, not so spicy, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave it like this. The classic barbecue sauce is an amazing base. I put that full bottle of barbecue sauce in here first. And then I put, I don't know how many ounces, let me actually, did I throw that away? No, oh, please. All right, this is 8.5 ounces. Okay, so that'll give me a good estimate. So 8.5 ounces of this sauce went into here. I put about another 2 ounces of water and then another 2 ounces of maple syrup. And that is what we have so far in this sauce. And I think that's probably going to be our sauce. I said earlier that I would put a little more water in the pan if it started to reduce. And I definitely recommend that as we put anything with sugar in it. If you're adding sugar to your sauce, the reduction is going to get thicker and thicker as the meatballs are continuing to cook. A little less so because we're going to cover them. But if you notice that the sauce is getting a little thick at any point on your meatballs, you are super welcome to add a tablespoon or 2 of water in there, and that'll help it out a lot, just kind of squish everything around. If you want, like I said, with the meatball or with the barbecue sauce instead of adding what I added. You can also do raw honey. You could do some cayenne pepper for some spice. You could do essentially any kind of spice that you like that goes really well with barbecue sauce. I think Dijon mustard in this combination would also be really phenomenal. So totally your call. What sounds good to you? You could also do avocado. Okay, these guys. There's an avocado oil mayo that Primal Kitchen does. That if you wanted to, you could mix in after the fact. Don't put it in before though, because that has a tendency to break when it's heated. So don't heat your meatballs with anything that's made out of that mayo, but you could add it in after if you want like a clean barbecue sauce on top. That might be really good. Okay, so at 3 minutes, and move these guys around one more time. And on this round, we're gonna add the sauce to both pans and we're gonna cover up the meatballs. I'm actually going to move them a little further like in toward each other as well. So the way that they cook while they're covered is a little more huddled together because it will help all the steam kind of settle into the same place. They'll cook a bit more thoroughly that way. I know I have my hand over here doing weird hand gestures. Okay, we'll start with this one, and I'm gonna add about half of this sauce. And I'm gonna cover this. This isn't gonna actually work on this pan, but it is gonna cover the meatballs. That's fine. You don't actually need a thing that like works on some of my larger skillets. I actually don't have a lid for. You just need the meatballs to be covered so can't some steam escapes from the side. So I'm gonna send these other guys. It's okay if not every single square inch of your meatball ends up getting like sitting on the pan at any given point. We just want to use 3 sides. We just want to flip them to a side they haven't been sitting on yet, basically. Yeah. That's troublesome. Okay.
Balance.
Great. Okay. We're going to put the second half of this sauce on here. Amazing. There's another lid that won't match. That on top, amazing. We're going to start this again. We're going to start it for 3 minutes. It's probably not going to be done in 3 minutes. I'm going to give these meatballs a little swish. These are looking fantastic. And these are just going to continue to cook on medium heat the entire time they're on here. You can cook your mushrooms for as long as you like them to cook, whatever makes sense for you. Some people like them a little less done. I like my mushrooms a little more done, so I'm gonna leave them on here for a while, but they're just gonna keep cooking like that. And intermittently, every 3, 4, 5 minutes, I'm gonna give them a swish and make sure that they're kind of cooking evenly on all sides. All right, now we're gonna have a tea break. You can see my tea on it. Hi. All right. Okay. Now, what else do we have? I think nothing. I think that's actually all.
I think that's it for this meal, right?
This is actually like a very easy meal. So I'm gonna grab some of these things, start throwing them away, and then grab out the food thermometer. Anything that has chicken in it or poultry of any kind, you're gonna want to make sure that the internal temperature gets to 165 degrees for it to be safe to eat. So we're gonna test the meatballs before we consume them and make sure that is in fact the case. Okay. I've also been making this incredible, I mentioned earlier, I've been drinking with ginger and lemon tea. I've been just grating fresh ginger into a cup and squeezing half a lemon into it. I've been doing like a pretty hefty amount of ginger, like a solid inch of ginger into a cup, half a lemon juice, and then boiling water Leave it there for 5 minutes, put some honey and a little bit of stevia and monk fruit in that. And it's beautiful, amazing. It's helped my throat so much. So fun tip for, I don't know, winter or cold or something. Highly recommend.
All these baked goods look so good. Like everything that's baked, I want it right now. So good.
Can't eat it yet. It's for people tomorrow.
That's it.
Yeah, I'll let you all know if I end up successfully getting to the point where I find a pie crust that can actually be made that's grain free. But so far, it seems like it's just going to be the rice.
White rice flour is the way to go. There.
I've never
That's
tried
how-
it before, but yeah, the Bob's Red Mill flours are the ones.
Yeah.
I also made this Bob's Red Mill. This is also grain free, the corn margarine, or not grain free. Obviously, got corn in it, but
Gluten-free cornbread. Nice.
carrots. Actually, didn't we make carrots in the last time?
Yeah, we made carrots last time.
Those are the same roasted carrots.
We're also, of course, going to be bringing steaks and fresh fruit to Thanksgiving because we're going with a big group of people. Not everybody eats exactly like we do. And you never really know when you're showing up to a party that's kind of a potluck situation with everybody bringing a bunch of stuff, just to make sure that we have our bases covered. We are bringing something like this is a gluten-free cornbread that she's made for the group. She's made these pumpkin pies. She's done some apple crisps, things like that we'll bring. And we'll also bring steak and fruit for ourselves to make sure that we get plenty of nutrient-dense, delicious whole foods that are Clovis approved, just to make sure that we have plenty of food to eat while we're there.
All right, we're gonna do our first test with these meatballs, and we need a bigger one in the middle and see what we have here. Okay, so this is slowing down around 160. So these are pretty close. That's great. So we ended up doing like 3 minutes, 3 minutes, and then this has been another 3 minutes now. So I'm gonna turn these just so they keep cooking in this sauce. They give these like a quick, just rough turn. Doesn't really matter where you turn them to at this point. They're already cooked on all sides. We're just making sure that they get cooked internally. I'm just gonna give them a quick swish so that they get a little more sauce on them. I'm gonna cover them again, and I'm gonna do the same with these guys. Amazing. Actually, I said earlier I didn't think the mushrooms were done at the same time, but I think they are. Okay. I'll let these keep simmering with the tops off because I want those to reduce a little bit more. And those probably really just have a few more minutes. Now, if you got to the point where you are ready for your meatballs to be done and they look like they're cooked and they're finished, but you want your sauce to be a little thicker, you can take the meatballs out first, put them on a plate. They'll stay warm for a while. Put them on a plate, or even better. Are we still working? A bowl is even better. And then let the sauce continue simmering for a couple minutes and it'll keep reducing. You can do that. That's super easy. The texture's cooking here.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, these mushrooms look like they are about finished. So this is basically it, guys. I mean,
Basically done, yeah.
it's very easy. It takes almost no time. What time are we at actually right now?
It's about probably 40, 45 minutes total since we started.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I suppose without the documenting and explaining, it's probably a 25-minute thing.
Yeah.
Or so. Yeah, so these are ready to be taken off and plated. We're not actually going to plate them here today because, as I said, we're going to go eat at a friend's house. So
Traveling with
we're
meatballs.
actually taking these meatballs with us. So we're going to be putting them in some glass Tupperware. If you have not replaced your plastic Tupperware with glass Tupperware, highly, 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 highly recommend it for hormonal reasons and various other toxin-related reasons. There is a really good set on Amazon that you can get that is totally plastic-free. That we have these amazing lids, which are these are glass, and the lid is made of bamboo, and the seal is made out of silicone. So there's literally no plastic on this. For a really long time, I thought it was kind of a moot point because it was like, well, if I have glass bottoms, the lids are going to be made out of some degree of plastic. Like, am I incrementally making an improvement? Maybe, but how much does it matter? These actually are totally plastic free.
Yeah.
And they're phenomenal. The only annoyance is you have to hand wash the tops, but it's not the end of the world. So
Yeah,
highly recommend.
So this is basically the finished thing. We're gonna put them in Tupperware. We'll travel with them. And they are gonna be delicious. I'm very excited to eat this.
Yeah. Thanks for cooking with us, everyone. Hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're celebrating. And if not, I hope you have a very chill Thursday.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And thank you again for being so cool and patient with our little reschedule here as we switched it to Wednesday. We know it's a busy day for all of you. So hopefully you enjoyed this recipe. And if you have any questions, hit us in the Facebook group, email me, whatever you need to do. We're gonna pack these up and go eat with our friends. So thanks again, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.